Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and thank you so much for joining me this week. So this week I cannot believe, I think this is my fourth uh, video on Manus because they keep releasing new functionalities, and this week I'm going to be exploring their data visualization tools. So if you're interested in exploring Manus and their data visualization tools, then please keep on watching. Okay, so I'm on Manus, and as you know, I actually subscribe to this because it's just so multifunctional. I mean, look, I can create images, slides, web page. This is what I'm going to be exploring today, the data visualization, which was only released recently. I've got a playbook, and there's more. Let me just press more so we can see. There's video and audio as well. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at the data visualization. And when you press on that, you can see you can choose an output format. So I might say slides because maybe I want to present some of the data analysis from one of my workshops into slides, right? And then preferred charts. Now, the data that I want to use is real data. And it's one of the workshops that I ran a few weeks ago on developing agency and agility in assessment. And I've got about, I think, 14 responses to my perspective has evolved from thinking to now thinking. So everybody wrote this on a post-it note because, you know, I don't want to lose the art and craft of handwriting. So I still encourage everybody to handwrite, but we need to analyze this and digitize this. So I took a photo of all 14 of these, and then let me show you what I did. Okay, so here you can see I went into Claude Sonnet 3.7 on my Poe account, and I said, can you please digitize all of these post-it notes? They're all handwritten, and here, beautiful Claude Sonnet 3.7 has digitized them for me. It's my perspective has evolved from thinking to now thinking. Okay, so I actually said, can you give me some, you know, qualitative data I could use? And that meant to say bar chart, but, you know, it didn't really understand what I meant. But anyway, it gave me the qualitative data. You can see here, initial and evolved. So I thought, why don't we look at that data from what people initially thought at the beginning of the agency and agility and assessment workshop, and then what the evolved perspective was. So I pressed copy basically here, and then I went back into Manus. So let's jump back into Manus. So here I actually pressed slides, and then I thought a Sankey diagram would be really good to show the before and after. And I just wanted a little presentation. Now, so rather than us just hanging around and watching me do it, I've just done it here, but that's basically what I did. I pressed slides, I pressed a Sankey diagram, and then I'm just going to scroll up. So I won't show you the presentation yet, but let me just scroll up so that you can see what Manus went through. So Manus here, I'll create a presentation, with data visualizations based on your instructions. I'll use the provided qualitative data and illustrate the evolution of assessment perspectives, including a Sankey chart, and ensure suitable formats, layouts, and labels for clarity and effectiveness. I'll use chart.js or d3.js for data visualization. And then Manus said, I'll analyze it and plan the presentation. I'll design the presentation. So I kind of didn't give any details about the design because I can always download the PowerPoint and do that myself if I was going to present this. Create the data visualizations, build and populate presentation slides, and then present the final slides to the user. So this probably took about 5 minutes, right? Not that long, and it did use up some of my credits, but you know, this is data, real data. So I did want to know actually what the shifts in thinking were. And after about 5 minutes, it came up with this. Okay, it gave me references as well. So let's now come over and have a look. So there were, it says evolution of assessment perspectives. It's got 5 types of assessments here. Diagnostic, formative, summative. Yeah, what does that say? Norm referenced, and then I can't quite read that, so I'm going to have to, you know, download that and read that a little bit later. But it's got an introduction, so purpose of the analysis, And key questions that were addressed: how have assessment perspectives shifted from initial to evolved states? What are the major themes in this transformation? How can these insights inform future assessment practices? This is really good. So if I was actually presenting to a board or presenting to teachers about their assessment practices, or I was trying to look for shifts in thinking from students and I wanted to give a presentation to teachers about student learning and thinking, I would actually use this. I would go through this same process. So here, initial assessment perspective. So this is the before, and there's a nice word cloud here, right, which was a focus on quantitative. You can see summative, government controlled, quantitative focus, yep, summative end focus. And then the evolved assessment perspectives were that we're alongside our students, right? Because that's where the word assessment comes from. It comes from the Latin word assidia, which actually means to sit by. So an assessment is not supposed to be evaluative or judgmental. The original root word implies that we're supposed to be sitting by our students and helping them guide their learning journey. Okay, and then let's just read this. Assessment is flexible and built upon over time. Yes, I'm more open to planning options within class. Great. To be more flexible with assessments for students in relation to technology. So there was also student-centered support. Assessment is to sit by. Assessment means to sit alongside. Assessment is sitting alongside a student to inform and guide. And then the other categories were community, peer-based, growth, learning focus, and, using diverse methods. So here's the Sankey chart. We go from a rigid approach to a more flexible approach here. A quantitative focus to a student-centered focus. Summative end focus to growth and learning focus. Teacher-centered judgment to community, peer-based, and mixed or transitional to method diversity. So, incorporating more strategies for collecting evidence of student learning. Here is the before and after, looking at rigid structure, and then, we're looking at quantitative focus, etc. So they've already outlined the themes from before. And then a nice little summary of the key transformation themes. I mean, this is pretty comprehensive. This is like a 10-slide presentation going through all of those. There were 14 pink sticky notes that we analyzed. Implications for educational practice. Yeah, this is what we need to be doing. Flexible assessment design, student-centered feedback, community engagement, and growth-focused metrics rather than ranking. That was something that we discussed during the workshop. And then conclusion with future directions, some lovely visuals and emojis here. And there's some references. Oh, I'll have to check those references. But yes, looking at, I do know Brookhart and Nitko. Black and William, I do know, so they look like they're authentic references, but of course I need to check. Okay, so that was the data visualization tool on Manus AI. And I think everyone knows by now that I'm a huge fan of Manus AI. Their free version is pretty good, but I decided to subscribe because I just, too many functionalities on one platform. It's my go-to, and I probably do use Manus every day. I chose to actually export slides, and it gave me, a 10-slide presentation. But if we just want to quickly analyze qualitative data from our students so that we can see where they are in terms of their learning journey, I would say just, export the graphs, copy and paste the qualitative data. But of course, we have to digitize it first by using any kind of large language model. Will do that for you nowadays. I use Claude to digitize all of those handwritten post-it notes first, and then using that data visualization from Manus. So I'm going to put the link to the one that I just created in the comment section below. If you try the data visualization tools, I would love to hear how you actually use it. Thank you so much for joining me this week, and I hope to see you next time.